What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the ASL. Yes, we are here for Group D, fourth day of the round of 24, and it's a very special day indeed, Xun. We've got an Zerg lineup today, the very first ever all Zerg lineup in the round of 24 for ASL. It was Season 4 when we had an all Zerg lineup in the round of 16. That was the only other time that we've had an all Zerg group in any part of the ASL tournament. But first time here for the round of 24. And guess who's here? Effort. He was also in that round of 16 in Season 4. So he finds himself once again in an all Zerg group. And there's a lot of killers here on stage today. It's going to be a mess.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited. Effort is just one of my favorite players of all time, man. He is such a legendary player. Most of his dominance was way back in that Kesper era, though he was just a really special kind of Zerg. People used to call him the alien Zerg on account of his looks and maybe his approach to the game. He was one of the only guys that made Flash adjust his style. Like back in the day, Flash was doing 1-1-1 builds all the time, and Effort figured out this way of just going like 2-hatch with Burrow upgrade and out microed him while transitioning into Mutalist play, and just showed Flash that this style was not the way to go. So this guy's a really special contender here today, and even though this is going to be a very quick group, I think it's going to be very action packed and interesting.
Yeah, we've got some very interesting maps right now. We've got the super long distance rush distance of Screaming Sea, and we've got that crazy map Litmus with the double gas. It's really strange. It throws a huge mix-up into ZVZ, Xun. I played a bit on Litmus, and I think just playing one base is insanely strong on that map. It's almost kind of not worth it to take a second base, kind of funnily enough.
Well, I would say like the main factor is it allows you to 12 hatch in your main base and be super safe while going for a more, eco-centric style of play. And we sometimes do see players doing 12 hatches in their main base a lot, but you kind of might get countered by a 12 hatch in the natural. Whereas that's not going to be as much of a factor on Litmus. So I feel like the ultimate build order is going to be something like a quick gas or a fast hatchery inside the main base, and utilizing that additional gas to have a much stronger production worth of Mutalisks. And you could, I guess, take all three gases, but I think that'd be hard to utilize and, leverage against your opponent for quite some time, and as we see some longer games.
Yeah, just the map pool, very interesting. I'm curious, though, are we going to see any players, not ban those crazier maps? Any players going to want to play on Screaming Sea or Litmus? Considering that it is ZVZ, there's so much uncertainty here already. There's so much possibility of upset. It's a little bit hard to allow one of those maps through unless you have a really solid plan for it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that there'll be a few of these maps we don't see a whole lot just because people want to ban it out. We had a little bit of that with Death Valley in the last season of ASL. You might see that happen in this ASL as well, where a few of these maps players aren't super comfortable on. But if they do get through, we're going to see some really spicy games for sure. I'd like to take a little moment saying to talk a bit about these guys' qualifier stages. So Queen took out a Zerg player called Die or DY in the semifinals, and that guy Die, he actually took out Ruin before that, interestingly enough. And then Queen eliminated YSC in the finals of his day 2 run. Effort, meanwhile, he shot down Yabsab's hopes of qualifying on day number 2 in the ZVZ finals match, and Yabsab was actually on a pretty interesting run. He took down DeWalt and then Tyson in the semifinals, so eliminating our non-Asian hope in the qualifier run here. Calm actually beat Effort in his day 1 qualifier finals to be here today, so that's already a big confidence boost for him and his chances in this group going forward, I would say. Hyun, meanwhile, he's had some ZVZ practice in his qualifiers as well, knocking out 2 Zergs, including Saxery in the semifinals, and then Free, a pretty good Protoss player, one of the Dragons, in the finals of his day 2 runs. So he's in pretty good shape. I don't necessarily feel like he's got too much of a chance. I still think Hyun is the underdog of this group, but he's in good fighting condition.
Yeah, I don't put a lot of stock in Hyun getting out of this group. I think that Calm is very strong. There could be a chance that Effort gets knocked out by someone like Calm. I think Queen makes it through here, but it's just so chaotic. Zerg versus Zerg, and with just one game, I mean, it's so easy to get a big upset here. We could end up seeing, Hyun Calm go out. That would be completely out of the ordinary or completely out of our expectations, but it could absolutely happen.
Right. I mean, I'd like to point out that none of these guys are particularly weak in Zerg versus Zerg. Sometimes you'll have a Zerg player that's just not so great at ZVZ. All of these guys are pretty reasonable in the matchup at the bare minimum. So we should see some good games no matter what happens today. Calm, he's a bit of a brain Zerg. That was the nickname he got once upon a time because of, outthinking and mind gaming people. It's kind of hard to use those talents in ZVZ. We could still see some of that here from him today. And I mean, he did take out Effort in his day one qualifiers, like I said. So he's already got a lot of hopes going forward in this group as well. I think it's going to be a toss-up between Queen Calm or Queen Effort. I really want it to be Queen Effort.
Yeah, I'm expecting Queen Effort, but like I said, it's such a toss-up of a matchup. It's so hard to predict here. And yeah, maybe Calm is one of those guys who will not veto, Litmus or Screaming Sea to try and pull out something smart, try to get a lead over his opponent, maybe even get a quick win over one of these stronger players. I just want to mention that Effort, he played in that round of 16 in ASL Season 4, where it was an all-Zerg group. Unfortunately, he didn't make it out there. Is history going to repeat itself? His all-Zerg group here today in the round of 24, is he going to get knocked out again?
I'm just super looking forward to this series, and like some of these guys haven't faced off against one another for like 14 years in an official match. We've got some really interesting pairings here today, so I'm curious about what can happen in this. I mean, we've had trial by fires in the round of 24 always because of that best of one format, but a ZVZ best of one, that's crazy. I mean, you're almost essentially like taking a trip to the casino at this point, but I mean, there is still a lot of skill factor. We've talked a lot about how Zerg versus Zerg is essentially a monkey fight in a phone booth with only a single knife between the pair. We'll have to see which of these players can secure that knife and go for the jugular today. I mean, most of them look pretty comfortable on stage. I don't see too many nerves and jitters from any of them. So I'm sure, pretty much all these guys have had now enough stage experience and been in the scene long enough to not be too phased.
Yeah, they've all got some good experience here. Maybe Hyun, the least experienced player up on this stage, but he's still managed to make it into ASL before. And yeah, he's looking calm, just like, I mean, you're going to be throwing in a gamble here and there. Keep a straight face and just put your cards on the table. We'll see what happens. Man, I am just... I'm really nervous for Effort here. He's been putting on such a good show in the KCM and in a lot of these latter games that I've been casting of his, and I really want to get him through and be able to see him play later on in the tournament in some of these non-ZVZ matchups, but I'm afraid he's going to get kicked out here. Something bad is going to happen, Shun, and we're not going to see Effort deeper in the tournament. Like, it would be an absolute travesty in my mind if Hyun manages to make it through over Effort, but it could absolutely happen.
Oh, definitely. So I definitely share your sentiment entirely. And you know what? I mean, it is going to be Calm versus Effort in that game number one between them. That's match two, game one between those two. But I mean, oh my gosh, like Calm already beat Effort in the qualifier. So he's got a lot of confidence going up against him. Maybe Effort can figure out the adjustments he needs to take down someone like Calm, and we'll get a little bit of revenge against him. I really do want to see Effort break through at least to the round of 16, maybe even the round of 8. He's such a talented, smart individual. He definitely deserves another deeper run in these tournaments now that he's back in the scene. Calm will be looking to have a better group run than he has in recent times. He's not really been a big contender. He's only really been able to break out into that round of 16 occasionally. He does struggle in these group stages.
Yeah, he's had a hard time. He's been in a lot of ASLs, but he has had a tough time making it deep. Um, I'm really curious to see how these guys are going to be banning, which maps are going to be coming out here. But we're going to start out on Dominator for those
Yeah.
first two matches. A pretty standard 3-player map. Pretty easy to like most of the normal stuff that comes with Dominator in the other mirror matchups and most of the other matchups is not really going to come into play here. The high ground advantage, for example, being on low ground in your main, that's not really a factor here in ZVZ. So it really changes the dynamic of Dominator.
Absolutely, and just to quickly point out, Zero versus Hyun. This is the guys I was talking about in terms of haven't played each other officially for 14 years. That was way back in the MSL that Queen was able to take a game off Hyun. So they haven't really had a lot of experience against one another. So, I mean, and a lot of these guys were dominant back in that era. Like Calm, he was a MSL champion back in the day, but it was a long time ago. And, the game has shifted a lot. The meta has changed. The people's approach to the game and knowledge of the game has really widely become advanced and adaptable now. So whether or not these guys can regain some kind of past glory will remain to be seen. But our first game of this day is going to be Queen versus Xun. That's going to be coming up soon, guys. I'm super excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm super curious. I imagine that Queen's just going to have better fundamentals here, and he's going to be able to kind of judge what his opponent is up to and react accordingly. But 3-player map, it depends on your scouting. If you scout the wrong direction and they scout the right direction, you might not be able to get that Overlord in immediately and figure out what they're up to, and that could cost you a game. And in a best of one, that's a pretty heartbreaking situation. Of course, you're going to try to scout with links and stuff like that, but a lot of things can go wrong in a ZVZ.
Yeah, I'm curious. Are we going to be seeing something like a 12 pull out of Queen here to kind of hedge his bets? Usually, the player that knows the most and is most comfortable against their opponent will elect for a bit more of a mid-rangey style and go for something like a 12 pull that can defend against a 9 pull and still have some kind of tech capability over some of the other eco plays and utilize their micro to make up the deficits if they are against something like a 12 hatch, which will obviously put them in a slight disadvantage. There's Queen there now taking a look at his statistics in the ASL. He's got a pretty decent run against slightly his worst matchup, not by a large margin here. And the song he's picked, We Will Rock You by Queen, definitely appropriate to his namesake.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not able to show you guys the music here because we do want to stay monetized, or we want StarCastTV to stay monetized on YouTube. So we're just going to have that audio muted until the game starts, guys, but we will have in-game audio. It's a clean stream, so get ready. Hyun here over on this side of the stage with that 50% win rate. You can see not a lot of ZVZs played so far in the ASL. A lot of people think of this guy as a bit of a cheeser. Likes to bring out some stinky strats, try to get some quick wins off of these other pro players. But I'm curious to see what he'll open with here. I mean, again, going up against Queen, it's going to be a tough road.
Yeah, I mean, Hyun's had a tough road in general, saying like he tried to switch from NBC hero to being a bit of a free agent, like around about 2009 sometimes, and never really got any team offers or anything. So he actually kind of had to go back to his roots and join that NBC hero team yet again. He's not really had the best of StarCraft 1 careers. He's been an adequate player. He's not like he's terrible or anything, but he's just never really had a chance to shine. There's always these bigger, better Zergs out there that cast such a large shadow.
Queen has a very large shadow with those 2 ASL victories. He hasn't been as dominant since then. We're in the era of Sulky right now, but maybe this is his time to come back.
Yeah, both players are ready. We're going to be jumping into it. Queen versus Hyun in the ASL Season 20 Group D match number 1 on Dominator. Let's get it started.
Queen spawning in top left. Hyun center right, and you can see here Overlords scouting correctly for Hyun, incorrectly here for Queen. That can be a big deal.
Yeah, no, it definitely might pay off in a big way here, potentially in the ZVZ. Any little factor can matter. Really curious how Queen wants to open here. I expect something like a 12 pull, something a bit more mid-rangey. I don't think he feels like it's necessary to take any risks and go for a 12 hatch here. So I'm curious, are we going to be seeing just a straight up 12 pull, or is he going to play a bit more aggressive? Sometimes if you think your opponent's weaker than you, being aggressive is the answer, especially in the the side of the pond that these Koreans are. They don't think like, oh, you should sit back and just macro and play better than your opponent long term. They think, oh no, you need to force interactions and really outmaneuver your opponent if you're better than him.
I would definitely put Queen a little bit above Hyun. Is he going to go for that middle of the road style? We go overpool out of Hyun. Now this is defeated by a 12 pool, or at least you're going to be in a pretty good advantage here as Queen. If he goes for that 12 pool, it's still going to be pretty good here if he goes for something like a hatchery. Oh my goodness, he's going to get 11 hatch. Against the overpool, this is an insanely good build for Queen.
Yeah, I knew there would definitely be either like a 11 hatch, 11 pool, or something along those lines. And it seems like he wants to go for more of the eco greed here. It's a bit of a gamble, but unless your opponent's going 9 pool speed, not always the easiest thing to punish here. And with the 11 hatch, that does finish up a teeny tiny bit faster, so the lava is available to you a bit quicker, and you can throw down sunken if you really need to, but you probably won't do that. You just have access to lava a little bit faster, so you can build those additional zerglings to defend if you need to. There's going to be a lair first here from Hyun, and that's definitely expected from an overpull style of play. If he does scout this, once you know it's not a 9 pull yourself, you can just skip over speed entirely, make another drone, and make a second hatchery yourself, and you can actually kind of line yourself up nicely for like a 6 muter timing as soon as your spire pops if you go for that kind of play and squeeze out an extra drone.
Queen here saving larva. He's going to start his lings now. And these lings are going to be in time, Xun. Like, he really shouldn't be losing this hatchery. You can see the lings of Hyun starting to move out now, but basically everything is better for Queen. He's got the extra larva popping out now. He's going to have more drones. And look at this, Hyun. Is he actually going to even come across the map right now? He's just kind of sitting out here in the middle, maybe hoping that Queen will move out and that he can do some sort of a backstab, but I'm not sure that's going to happen here.
Yeah, you got kind of like 2 choices when you go for this sort of opal style. You can make an adjustment, get a couple of drones out, get a second hatchery. He's actually trying to hide zerglings here from Queen and hope that Queen makes a mistake by coming out early, and then Hyun can punish by running in some zerglings behind the lines, but doesn't seem like Queen's interested in doing that. Finally, link speed has finished for Hyun, and that timing should tell Queen, and this was a lair first, so you'll want to just sit back and park the bus now and pull some drones to defend against this pressure. As long as he doesn't lose any drones to the harassing speed advantage of these zerglings, Queen's in a great position. Hyun trying to catch some zerglings as they pop out of the eggs, unsuccessful in doing so. You can see Queen doing a masterful job of just holding the line with 5 drones that have been pulled, so they're ready to engage these high number of zerglings at a moment's notice, and it'd be hard for Hyun to get good surface area. He has got the speed advantage, but with some good drilling of these drones, Queen might be able to hold this nicely.
Yeah, he's held this no problem, and this is now a really difficult position for Hyun. As long as Queen didn't make the mistake of making a couple of extra drones, thinking that maybe there was a hatchery there for Hyun, he was going to be fine. And yeah, he pulls the drones as well just to make absolutely sure that he's safe. and really doesn't lose anything. Takes a good trade with the Lings. Now he's coming across the map. He can keep making Lings here and keep the pressure on, and there's nothing that Hyun can do except for make a couple of sunken colonies, keep making Lings, and then try to switch into Mutalisk here. Back at home, there should be an evolution chamber started, and there it is. The evolution chamber is finished up already. Spore colonies are going to be on the way here, and you kind of have to leave something back at home right now for Hyun, because the Ling pressure can kind of come in here and deal a lot of damage.
Well, the Ling pressure is exceedingly important, Saiyan, right? Like, he doesn't just need to put on pressure to Hyun right now, but he needs to make sure that Hyun can't just, like, you know, make a lot of Zerglings and kill Queen while he's transitioning into these spores. If he's expecting only Mutas and suddenly a bunch of Zerglings show up, that's one way you can deal with this transition from Queen. So initially, you want to put on a little bit of pressure with some Zerglings, or at least have a high enough count of Zerglings that Hyun can't just come in here and wipe him out with these anti-air turrets set up in his main and natural. So yeah, really well done from Queen. He's kind of min-maxed to his heart's content. Will now retreat back with his Zerglings to defend out his spores in case there was some kind of Ling stab. But without a second hatchery worth of production, that would have almost no chance of being successful now. Hyun's kind of just relegated to trying to supply bot Queen with these Mutalisks to make up the issue, but it's not going to pay off in the long run. Eventually, Queen should outscale him.
Yeah, Queen has a Ling over here at the natural, you can see right now. He's going to go ahead and just scout, see what pops out from Hyun, and see if he's going to take that natural expansion as well. If he sees a bunch of Lings popping, he'll just make Lings in response, because he knows that it's going to be an all-in from Hyun to just try and kill him here. Oh, Ling's trying to run by. Can he actually get into the main base? If he gets into the main base, the Lings here can't really engage with that. Lings are going to be coming back right now, and Hyun goes after the Spore. Lings run by, but they're going to take some big damage from these Mutas here as they try to run past. This is a pretty good move that can do a lot of damage, but look at that. Sunken colony in the main base there for Queen as well. Hatchery in the main from Hyun. Rather than going for that natural, they're going to be a little bit safe here. Go for the in-base hatchery, but that's never going to be able to mine gas in the natural if he's just going for this type of build.
Yeah, this was a nice little gambit here from Hyun. He's picking up a few drones occasionally by trading some of the HP on his Mutalisks for those worker units. But yeah, I do like the idea from Hyun. It's probably one of the only things that he can do to try and come back in this game by killing the Zerglings with the Mutas as they transit from the natural to the main to save the day. Luckily, he got enough Lings close to the spores that Hyun really couldn't do a lot. He was basically trying to come in there, capitalize by killing some of these spores with the Zerglings, open up that side of the minerals and allow the Mutas to harass to their heart's content. Luckily, Queen, though, reading him like a book and having the correct responses saves the day. Hyun hasn't actually got that hatchery on the way in the natural, so he really was hoping on some critical damage here.
Yeah, he's going to try and run in. Looks like might get a drone potentially here. I think he got one drone there in the main, but now the Ling threat has been cleared, and there's going to be Mutas and Scourge out here now for Queen. This is looking scary for Hyun, who's just kind of trailing the Mutas of Queen, but with that second gas coming online now, there's really not a good way to keep up in terms of that production. Queen going to be adding on a few more drones here, trying to squeeze out a few more before fully committing to that Mutalisk production now. Okay, natural is going to be thrown down by Hyun, but it's a long way off, and Queen's just going to have way more gas here for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, if he had killed just a couple more drones, maybe this could look a little bit different, but he didn't really find the damage he was looking for with the Zerglings and the Mutas in combination. It's a shame, because if he literally just killed like 2 or 3 more drones, I actually feel like Hyun maybe has a comeback mechanic in this game by getting that natural hatchery online. But Queen having that additional 300 gas a minute ahead of time, that's 3 extra Mutas he's been able to catch up as the minutes have been ticking by. So now, even though he was able to produce a lot of Mutalisks initially, Queen will now start to outscale him dramatically, because it'll take a long time for the hatchery to even come online in the first place. And he's actually going to get a cancel on that with the Zerglings. I think Hyun can't save this in time. It's going to be close, but he is going to be forced to cancel that. And Queen getting a very technical advantage in this game, yet again, compounding his lead more and more, saying Hyun's in trouble.
Yeah, look at that. More mutas now for Queen. Actually, just evening things out here. Hyun sitting on 10 as well. There's a few extra Scourge for Queen. There it is, 11 now. And he's going to continue to extend that lead. I'm not sure if Hyun actually started an upgrade, but I really do doubt it. He's been very much on the edge here for a long time, was trying to put on that pressure, what we were talking about earlier with the early Lings and Mutas, but Queen has weathered that storm, and now he is in full production mode, looking to end this here shortly. Does not want to allow that second gas to come online for Hyun, and I mean,
Yeah.
with that extra production as well, once you've got the 3 hatches going, you can really start to pound out a ton of units. So Queen does not want to allow that full production to come online here. He's going to get that critical mass of mutas and look for a punish. Somewhere is going to be open here for Hyun, and he'll look for that spot.
Yeah, very often when the spores were made initially, you'll see both players kind of just sitting and chilling because it works on twofold. Like, Hyun doesn't feel like he can move out because his mineral lines aren't protected by spores, and Queen ideally wants to engage over the top of his spores for an advantage. He's even killed one of his own buildings there at the gas just to optimize the mining there. He will have a critical mass that will be ascertained soon, and then he will eventually pull the trigger on taking Hyun out in this game. But for a while, they will want to sit back and just, consolidate their forces as much as possible. Hyun doesn't feel like he could take the risk of going out if suddenly Queen swoops in and kills a few drones. That definitely will be lights out. Queen's now starting to already move out over the course of these pizza slices straight into the main base of Hyun. Has got some Zerglings out in the middle, but he's mainly just wants to force a trade right now. Lots of Scourge connecting on both sides, but Hyun only with 9 mutas remaining. Queen has so many mutas in the sky compared to Hyun. There's no way Hyun can make up this deficit. Even if Queen's mutas are on attack move, he should be losing this fight, and Queen definitely going to be taking down Hyun and swiping him out of the skies here. 9 mutas to 3, I think.
Yeah, this game is over. There it is. GG is called. Bit of a build order win here for Queen, but showing he's just not scared of playing ZVZ. Going for an 11 hatchery, that's supreme confidence for you. And it works out. It pays off. Hyun played a little bit more scared, going for that overpull. It's not a very strong build, but it does give you some options regardless of what the opponent is doing. Just not very good options when Queen is going for that 11 hatch and getting that economy online so early.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably one of the longer ZVZs we're going to have of the match day. I mean, we could see a lot faster games than that. The ZVZ is so intense, so crazy that a game half that length is not unusual. We'll have to wait and see what we've got coming up. It's going to be Effort versus Calm soon. And Calm did take down Effort in the qualifiers, as we talked about. Can Effort get revenge on Calm? I really do hope he does. I'd be so sad if Effort can't get through this group here today, Sam.
Yeah, that would be really tough, guys. We're going to go commercial break. The commercials today are probably going to be longer than the games combined, but that's just the nature of ZVZ. So we're going to take a quick break here. When we get back, Effort versus Calm. Don't go away. All right, guys, we are back. And we're ready. Excuse me. All right, sorry, guys. Just a bit of an error there. Press the wrong button. We're ready to get back into this. We've got Effort versus Calm coming up. And I wonder if we're going to see either of these players as daring as Queen in this next match. Because that was pretty ballsy to go for an 11 hatch when you're in a best of one ZVZ. That's impressively ballsy to just pull that out. A 9 pool speed could absolutely ruin your day and put you down into the losers match incredibly fast. Like, you could go out in the first, couple of minutes of the early game, and that's just a risk Queen was willing to take. But I was watching a translation of one of Flash's videos. It was from Jinjin 5000 recently, and he was talking about, hey, when he was going into 2010 and he started to become dominant, one of the big reasons was because counterintuitively he decided that he wasn't going to try to win every single game. He's just kind of let go of it, trying to hold on to the win every single time he plays. And then he was able to become way more aggressive, take way bigger risks. And, we saw what happened due to that. Just he became like the paragon of, 14cc. Like, he made that build work. He didn't really care if he won or lost. He knew that in the long run he's going to win more than he loses, and that's what it takes to become a champion.
I mean, I think that there's a lot to be said for that psychology in general. I think a lot of people have problems even just on the ladder where they have such an outcome dependence that it ruins their day. So, their happiness is tied to their results, and their performance in the long term are tied to their results. Whereas if you don't really focus on the winning aspect, just on the gameplay itself and slipping into that ebb and flow and the flow state of your gameplay, great things can happen. It's only when you're obsessed over the wins and losses where you tend to run into a lot of problems psychologically speaking. So I think you're absolutely right about that, Saiyan. And hopefully these guys can give us great games today and not obsess too much over the individual results and instead just lock into performing well.
Obsessing over results and ruining your day? I feel personally attacked by that, Xun. But I'll try to let it go. Oh, man, I'm definitely guilty of that, and could take a page out of Flash's book. It's one of those things you can hear it and you can understand it, but do you really know it unless you put it into your own life and kind of embody it yourself? That is the struggle. And you could say, or you could listen to that, what Flash said, and try to play it out in your own game plan. But the ballsiness, I mean, it's incredibly hard to put it all on the line like what Queen just did, and I'm not sure that either of these players are ready to do that, but we're about to find out.
Yeah, it looks like Effort in good spirits there, smiling as he types away to Calm. Both these guys are pretty happy-go-lucky, kind of happy chappies. So I'm curious to see what will happen between these two guys saying. It's going to be really exciting. And they have had a very recent history. We're going to jumping into it, though. It's going to be Calm versus Effort. ASL Season 20 Group D, match number 2 on Dominator. Let's get it started, guys.
Effort, excuse me, spawning over there in the center right. Calm down here in the bottom left. Some big cheers for these two storied players. Calm, a huge streamer these days, has a lot of fans out there, and a lot of people are going to be hoping for him to win. Personally, though, I'm on Team Effort. Really hoping this guy can go forward. We've seen Calm knocked out in the round of 24 enough times to think he's probably going to be end up going down here.
Right, he has been able to break out into the round of 16 occasionally, but he's not one of those guys that can go super deep in the tournament. He is a very intelligent player with how he approaches the game. His game plans are very intelligently designed. However, a little bit lacking on the execution on occasion. So he's never really been able to shine brightly in these recent times post Kesper era. Maybe he can do it again, though. You never know. Maybe this guy's been practicing really hard. He's a very excitable gentleman on stream. If you go watch some of his commentary or something, he's a very interesting character overall. And, gonna be an overpull out of effort. So a little bit mid-rangey style coming out from him. This is probably one of the most adjustable ways of playing ZVZ, is going for the overpull, because you can put on pressure with it. You can kind of squeeze out a couple of drones and try and get a 6-meter timing going and try and overwhelm your opponent in the skies. You can fake doing that and flood Zerglings off of 2 hatcheries while they're transitioning into spores. It gives you a few options going for overpull.
12 full gas here for Calm, and is going to have a bit of an advantage. The general rule in ZVZ, even though it's not always true, is the later pool tends to have the advantage, and Calm's going to get this hatchery going as well. I think if Hyun had done this build rather than the overpool last game, he would have been in a stronger position. So I think that that's what Calm's hedging for, in case effort went for something like an 11 hatchery. He's going to have still a pretty reasonable game, and he's going to have the potential for Lings to deal with something like an 9-pool speed. But it's funny to see both players, Effort and Hyun, going for that overpool here in center right. And
Calm wasn't overpool, right? Calm was like an 11 pool or something, I believe.
Effort is overpool.
Oh, I thought you were saying Calm as well did that.
No. I'm saying that Effort went for overpool just like Hyun did, and they were both spawned in the center right.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, totally misinterpreted what you were saying there. My bad, Sam. I got a phone call. My phone's on silent, so I got a tiny bit distracted while you were talking. I do apologize. So, yeah, I mean, this is technically favoring Calm right now. I don't know how this will pan out exactly, because just because you've got a slight build order win in CVZ doesn't mean you win the game. It just, helps you have a strong chance at winning the game. And one of the reasons why Jaedong was so dominant in ZVZ back in the day that everyone called it JVZ wasn't necessarily because he was always build order winning. It's that whenever he could secure some kind of advantage, he would rarely lose the game. He would still lose games he was at disadvantage, but he'd find ways of getting an advantage either through build orders or by outmaneuvering and outthinking and outmicroing his opponents. And once he had those advantages, would then not concede them. We'll have to see how well these two can channel their inner Jaedong now.
Yeah, and so this advantage is much less than what we saw with Queen versus Hyun. There's going to be a small period of time where Effort has a bit of an advantage, or a bit of a lead in terms of Lings, and going to have that speed here a little bit faster, but Calm will have more Lings eventually. As the earlier hatchery kicks into gear and those Lings start to pop out, he will be able to overwhelm Effort, but Effort is going to have a slightly faster Spire. So there is a bit of play here for Effort. He's trying to put a lot of damage on this hatchery. He's actually going to kill the hatchery. Oh my god, he's going to get the hatchery. You've got to be kidding me. Calm making a massive error here and just not engaging those Lings as they were dealing that damage. That is so rough.
There's a sunken back at home for Effort, but there is a big Ling advantage now for Calm. He did a good tactic of just having 2 Lings on the outside, threatening a run by the entire time, and forcing Calm to worry about those 2 Lings slipping into the main base, so much so that he got enough surface area and DPS time active on that hatchery that he was able to take it out. Now threading the needle with some of these Zerglings to try and pick off a drone or 2 in the main base. There's a lot of Zerglings, though, streaming into the main base of Effort, but he has got 3 Mutas hatching out to soften up these Zerglings with a second sunken on the way. Calm will take down this sunken that's in production very quickly, but maybe he can buy him just a little bit of valuable time to start drilling with these drones and avoid too many work losses. Already 1 drone going down, a second and the third now falling as well. Only 3 drones falling for Effort, not the kind of damage that Calm was looking to find compensation for losing that natural. But I mean, this is kind of an even game, I would say. I think like there's an eco advantage for Calm, but a muta advantage for Effort.
Yeah, it all comes down to this attack coming in. There's no third muta, which means you can't one-shot the Scourge, which means that Calm is in a really hard spot. Oh, he went for the kill on that Scourge, but he failed it. He failed the shot on the Scourge, and so the mutas are just going to win here. Effort not able to get that shot off with all 3 mutas at the same time. That is brutal.
Crazy. What a game, man. Effort slapping Calm down when it mattered most. Calm got the better of him in that qualifier stage, but Effort comes out strong, pushing himself through to that winner's match against Queen. Calm will be dropping to face off against Hyun. I'm super stoked for Effort. That's a much needed win. That was a build order loss for him, and he still managed to find the win condition necessary. Just why you shouldn't sleep on ZVZ. Yes, it's essentially a rock, paper, scissor kind of style of matchup in who does what build order to get what advantage, but like that thing we were talking about with Jaedong, you can always squeeze out advantages and consolidate them. It's not like you've just lost the game because of a build order loss, and Effort proved that here today.
Yeah, not as big of a build order loss, excuse me, as Hyun had versus Queen, but still a bit of a tough spot. Calm should have been able to bring that into a decent spot, but he just let the base go. He let the hatchery die. Definitely should have been a little bit more on top of that. Effort getting in with the snipe absolutely changes that game and puts him into a fantastic spot, forces the desperate counterattack from Calm, and ends up clearing everything with the Muta Scourge combo. It was a bit unlucky there for Calm, not getting that one shot with the 3 mutas to kill the Scourge initially, but I mean, the muta advantage was there, and there just wasn't enough popping out for Calm to stay alive in that spot.
He just didn't buy enough time forcing Effort to chase down those lings with the mutas. If that attack was lasting a little bit longer there for Calm, he would have had a few precious seconds to squeeze out additional mutalisks and had a higher chance of microing against those Scourge. But Effort knew he had an air advantage. There was technically more drones for Calm, but the tempo was on Effort's side, and he seized the day with that small advantage. And I mean, that was spectacular way for Effort to break through into that winner's match. I'm curious now where he will stack up against Queen. I actually think that Effort's a better overall player than Queen. In recent times, obviously, Ever's been a bit out of the scene because of his wrist injuries. We haven't seen a lot from him, but overall, I value Effort higher than I do Queen.
It's really hard to say. Yeah, I mean, Queen, he's been making a comeback recently after kind of falling by the wayside for quite some time, getting eliminated by BCM in the qualifiers a few years back really did hurt his pride, I think, and he's been putting a lot more effort into improving at this game, and he wants to have another deep run. You can tell that for sure. Last season, he was looking really strong, did end up getting taken down. What was it, the round of 8? Got taken out? I can't quite remember that,
Something like that.
But I mean, he was looking very, very good, and he's been putting up some good fights in the KCM as well. Participating more in these other tournaments, Pro League and this and that. Like, he is a strong player. I'm just curious to see if he's going to be able to beat Effort here, because Effort, he is an enigma. Like, he is such a special player, and I'm really excited to see if he's able to overcome Queen. It'll be the first step into this tournament and going deep, making a deep run in ASL, I think.
Yeah, he definitely did get into the round of 8 last season, Queen, that is. But in previous seasons before that, he kind of fell off the map a lot. There was a time where he was so dominant for about a year, maybe a year and a half. He was really dominant, especially in that Zerg versus Protoss matchup. He seemed almost unbeatable for a while, did Queen. And he kind of just, disappeared in terms of his dominance very quickly. And a lot of these players don't have that long of a reign of terror over the rest of the scene, because the rest of the scene kind of adapts, figures out what they're doing wrong, and shift the meta a little bit. Someone like Flash, Jaedong, these other guys, they've had much longer periods of dominance, and that's really hard to achieve in StarCraft. And unfortunately, Queen is one of those guys that had his time to shine and kind of fell off, but recently he's been playing a lot better. So I'm curious to see where he lines up against effort. We're taking a little bit now, a little bit look at the Google Play Points sponsor here. So apparently, if you put in the code L5PO1NTSZ0, you can get 1,000 points for free. So go check that out, guys.
Well, I don't know if that's just a Korean thing or what, but
True,
that's
true.
funny. We see a lot of happy faces here in the crowd. It would be a shame to go home after less than an hour, Shin. So they're gonna drag this out uh, a little bit longer here, get this sponsored segment in, and maybe we'll
We knew they
get
would.
past that, 1 hour, maybe 1 hour 10 mark here for the CVZ group. It's gonna be quick, regardless, though.
Yeah, Zayn and I had a bit of a conversation off air after the last group stage that, yeah, we expected them to really drag out today just because otherwise the whole group would be less than an hour long. And that would not do in terms of airtime for your sponsors and, just getting value out of the production in general. These venues are not cheap to run. And to get all this staff here today and everyone, it's expensive. So yeah, it makes sense that they want to squeeze a little bit more of that juice out of the orange sand.
Yeah, I would be disappointed if I flew all the way in from, another country to come in and visit Korea and watch the ASL, and the group is over in less than an hour. If you got that all ZVZ group, so I doubt we have many foreigners in the audience. I haven't seen any so far, but we'll be on the lookout for some of those poor souls.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could, be there over a period of a few days and try and check out multiple group stages. That'd be the way to go. You could
Oh, yeah.
somehow, chill at a hotel for best part of a week and check out, 3 group stages in a row. As long as there's no one like Bisu playing, then you probably will be able to get tickets. But if there's one of these big guys, good luck getting tickets. I mean, they've got a real crazy fandom. They're almost essentially rock stars in their own right. So yeah, there's certain group stages that will be harder to get in than others.
Yeah, there's something to be said about, going to Korea for the round of 4, the round of 8, instead of the finals as well. You get more games, you get more back-to-back days as well. So, got to kind of plan that out appropriately. I would be pretty disappointed, though, if I only had one day and it was an all-ZVZ group. Even though I'm a Zerg player, still, I want to get some more time in the studio. It's such a cool studio, guys, and you should definitely check it out. This is a once in 20 seasons that we've got all ZVZ in the round of 24. All ZVZ group happened only one other time, guys, in the round of 16 of season 4. So, very long running tournament with very few groups like this. It's kind of a special day here.
Oh, absolutely. A history making day for sure. And yeah, like you were saying, kind of insane to think about because, I mean, in the round of 16, that's a best of 3 type group stage. So not as intense as this best of 1 trial by fire. But guys, we're going to be going to a bit of a commercial break. Run to the bathroom, grab some popcorn, whatever your typical choice is, even if it's just water and fruit to stay healthy. Go and get your desires sorted out. Come back here in a few minutes. We'll be joining you for that winners match. It's going to be super sick.
All right, guys, the moment that I've been waiting for. Are we going to get that new map? We're going to get either of these new maps. I mean, they're all new maps except for one of them is kind of a rehash. We've got that's Circuit Breakers Remake Knockout. That's the one that's most of these games have been going to in the round of 24 because Screaming Sea and Litmus are just so crazy, but I'm really curious in ZVZ. Is it Screaming Sea?
Saying I just translated the Korean for that map of choice. I think it's Korean Sea that Screaming Sea that's gonna be coming up.
Okay, well, we can already start talking about this, Xun. Screaming Sea is a huge rush distance. I think we're gonna see 11 hatch out of both players, maybe even 12 hatch here on this map. I mean, it's so hard to get over and punish that.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a long rush distance, and I really doubt the islands would ever come into play, especially with the Mutalisk force in the sky, contending that. So I don't think we'll see anything too shenanigan in the way of the islands being utilized. But yeah, the long rush distance means you can be a bit more greedier with these hatchery first plays. Super excited to see what these guys have got in store for us. I mean, I don't think it will happen, but technically a Hydra build would be viable here. We won't see that though, because it's just not as good as going straight Willis. But I think both players are pretty much going to be ready here, saying, so we're going to be jumping straight into the action as Effort versus Queen ASL Season 20 Group D winners match. There's that Screaming Sea. The translator paid off for me. Let's get it started, guys.
Effort spawning top right, Queen. There he is on screen. Bottom left-hand corner. Screaming Sea. Absolutely wild map. And
did you see that?
No, I didn't see. What are you?
Queen actually messed up his drones at the start. Like, he tried to optimize vertically mining the bottom patch after getting the first mineral cycle and messed up and sent the drone with the mineral to the bottom patch. So he missed out on optimization. He actually took a bit of an open mouth sigh after that. Like, he's not quite as comfortable and warmed up as he should be. Had a little bit of mistakes. You can actually see he was slower in making that 9th drone as a result now.
Well, that's a bit of a mental loss there for Queen, even though it's not going to make a huge difference here. Every bit of minerals counts in ZVZ, and you just can't really be messing these small things up. You should be getting everything mining here properly now. You can see Effort boosting his drones. You can actually get a lot of good boosts here in top right. The top mineral patch will boost by itself, and the one just below it, I'm pretty sure you can get that to boost as well with a return cargo command. So you can get a lot of good mining going here up in the top right. I'm not sure exactly how balanced it is in terms of mining efficiency on either side, but you can see about 20 minerals ahead of Queen. Few seconds earlier on that hatchery, but both players going for a 12 hatch as expected.
I mean, that hatchery is mainly quicker because of the mess up from Queen's optimization at the start. It's led to essentially a 2.5 faster second hatchery for Effort. I think both sides are almost even in their mineral optimizations, maybe a teeny tiny bit faster in that top right corner, but the main issue for Queen was that mess up at the start of the game hindering him rather than the different sides of the map.
Well, hopefully he can push through here, get his mind right, and make sure he doesn't make any further mistakes. That's a problem that often comes up, is the problem of compounding errors. If you start making mistakes and you let it get under your skin, can continue to make more and more mistakes and fall further and further behind just because of your own mentality. It's a hard cycle to break out of.
Yeah, there's some players that are like nerves of steel. They never get phased by stuff like that, and they bounce right back. There's more players that don't. There's players that just fall apart mentally gradually over the course of the game. And we used to think back in the day there was like two, types of players, two archetypes. The mechanical players and the emotional players. And sometimes if you fall more into that latter category where you're a little bit more emotionally engaged with the game, any tiny mistake can end up costing you a lot more than that individual mistake at the time. We'll have to see if Queen can get his mental game under wraps. It's not a big deal. As long as he just plays perfectly from now on, it's not really going to have too much of a influence over the course of this game, especially with the longer rush distance. How will they optimize based on that? We'll probably see a little bit less Zerglings being produced in the early game phase, a lot more bluffing, or rather playing chicken with one another, I should say. They'll be tracking how many eggs pop out as drones and Zerglings. If one guy makes Zerglings, the other guy will make Zerglings. If one guy makes drones, the other guy will make drones. And back and forth it will go until one of them flinches from that game of chicken.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Xun. Especially when you've got two-player map where both players have vision over each other and their eggs and seeing exactly what's popping out, you can start to play this game of chicken. Now, Effort is actually hiding some lings, and we've got the big first divergence here. Ling speed is finished, and a bunch of lings are made in the main that are actually going to be hiding out here. An extra hatchery was made by Queen in the front, so he's delaying his gas by a little bit to really crank up that economy. However, he might end up getting overwhelmed by these links. He's not sending them out. I'm a little bit surprised by Effort not sending these links out here. Looks like he wants to kind of feign this pressure here and then suddenly come out with a bunch more links. Right. He's waiting for a few more rounds here so that he can try to overwhelm. Has Queen made too many drones in this situation? Will he be able to hold on?
Yeah, I think you're completely right about that. He's going to go for a massive tempo swing now. He knows Queen will make Zerglings to respond to this, but he's hoping not enough. And then here comes the floodgates now. The third hatchery has finished to increase the production of Zerglings available to Queen. Can he get a tight enough wall in here before Effort can put on the pressure? He starts to hammer on the gates already. Queen looks like he's in a little bit of trouble. There will be more Zerglings eventually for Queen, but right now there's a massive tempo swing going for Effort. Drones coming off the line to try and about this choke point. Pretty good surface area and a target firing on one of those drones. Now getting into the main base is Effort, putting pressure onto this Spire. I don't know why he's placed his Spire here. That Spire's going to go down, saying, oh my days.
Oh, it just barely dies, Xun. That is insane. And Queen is now in dire straits here. He's going to have to throw down an evolution chamber, go all in with lings, just make all lings, try to put on as much pressure as possible, see if he can't keep Effort back and make some spores at home. He's actually got a few mutas here popping out, but he will be overwhelmed here shortly. He's got more production than Effort. Remember that. An extra hatchery here. Did end up losing some of those drones. Maybe one or two drones did go down. I guess 4 mutas were actually made by Queen, and he's going to try and just hold on. With 4 versus 5, this is not going to go well for him. 6, 7 are now here. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, he's just barely got enough of a muta advantage that he should be able to shut this down. He's desperately trying to get spores online. Will it be in time? His mutas are taking an absolute pounding right now, saying the spores do finish up, but this hatchery is not covered by those spores. Oh, there's no spores in the main! Big mistake from Queen. He didn't get the creeps up in time in his main. He has to tap out. Effort is the first gamer of the group breaking through to the round of 16. Saying 2-0 easy. What a guy.
Dude. I mean, Queen, he's kind of laughing right now. Why did he build his Spire there? Why did he mess up in the early game with his drone? Just these tiny little mistakes in ZVZ can cost you everything. And I mean, there's no reason to put your Spire there at all. If you have to defend with spores later on, that Spire is going to be so crazy exposed. That was just like, oh, I need to throw down my Spire right now, and my drone happens to be sitting there, so I'm just going to make it. It's like, it's one of those moments.
blown away that he put his Spire there. It's like if you look on the mini map, you can see like one of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong, and that's that weirdly placed Spire. That makes absolutely no sense. It's got no business being there. Like, why? Tell me why do they build castles in the sky? Saying it makes absolutely no sense at all to do something like that.
Yeah, this initial trade was not good for Queen either. He needed to get a bit of a concave going here, and Effort was just able to get a reasonable trade despite kind of pushing up into Queen. Now, this fight was okay for Queen, but he just did not have the defenses here. Like, imagine if this Spire's behind the mineral patches where it's supposed to be,
Exactly.
Xun. You can definitely defend that, and you're going to have these Lings in time available to shut down this Ling attack. Probably lose maybe an extra drone or something like that, but at least you're not going to lose the game straight up.
Yeah, you're losing a drone or two, but that's about it. Maybe a little bit lost mining time, but not that big a deal. You've got the third hatchery to recover. Not a problem at all. Why did he build the Spire there? Please, somebody tell me. I certainly don't know.
It's something that's going to be haunting Queen, I think, for a long time, especially if he loses this group. Guys, if Queen goes down in this group, people... we're never going to hear the end of it. Like, the BCM thing was one thing, but this is pretty bad.
Yeah, I really do feel like there's some strangeness going on in the world of Queen right now. Some Donnie Darko tier shenanigans. Who knows? But Effort joining us for a little bit of an interview. He's probably feeling pretty relieved. That was an easier group than he probably expected, to be honest. He managed to outplay his opponent in that match number 1, and I actually thought like this next game would be a little bit trickier for him, and Queen would actually take him to a pretty long game slog with the extra rush distance being hard to overcome. And Queen was very close to plugging the gap and stopping Effort from coming in there and doing something like that. But really great tempo timing play from Effort, managed to seal the deal. And that means, you know, we're going to have a bit of a toss-up in this group. I think that changes things a lot now. I mean, it's even possible that Queen gets knocked out, you know. Like, Calm or someone could technically get through this group, you know.
Yeah, it's possible. I just want to say one more thing. Queen got pretty greedy there in that game, like not sending the Overlord all the way into the main. You saw Effort actually had his Overlord slightly faster, which never should have happened. That doesn't make any sense. You know where your opponent is. Your Overlord should arrive at their natural at the same time. And then he decided to pull his Overlord after just scouting the natural. So he wasn't like checking all the larva that was going on. Effort identified that, knew that, you know, Queen was trying to be a little greedy and try to save that Overlord for the later Mutalisk switch, and made a bunch of extra Lings. It worked out amazing for him. Really good heads up play. But that never should have happened. Like, this game was like one of those games where, you know, Queen is just going to have to look back at the replay and kind of wince.
Yeah, I think Effort read his soul. I think that was a really good game plan from him. And he identified, hang on a minute, Queen is going to be thinking about that longer game state, exactly as you say. And that can hurt you in StarCraft. If you're thinking too much about the mid-game optimization, suddenly the early game can fall through out from under you, and you just plunge through that trap door prematurely. It happens a lot to these gamers, usually in a series after they played a few long games and they're just thinking about their min-maxes, their optimizations for the late game stages, but happens sometimes even just in best of ones if you're not thinking about it enough. And guys, we're going to be going to a little bit of a break here, but we have got that losers match coming up. It's going to be Hyun versus Calm. Could be super exciting. Don't go anywhere.
All right, guys. The losers match is now Hyun versus Calm. And I'm expecting another fast match. Of course, ZVZ. We're going to be out of here before you know it, Xun. Don't blink, guys, because you might miss this next game coming up.
Yeah, the last time they faced off against each other was actually a year ago in the qualifiers. Calm eliminated Hyun 2-0. So they've had a little bit of a history, but that was a year ago. That was the autumn SSL back in 2024. What can happen today? Can Hyun get a little bit of revenge? Go through to that finals match against Queen, or will it be Calm versus Queen, as we suspect it may be? And how exciting would it be if somehow Calm causes an upset here today, kicks Queen out of that finals match, and joins effort in the round of 16? Anything can happen in the ASL, saying, let's see it.
Yeah, I mean, this group is a little bit cursed. I wouldn't be surprised if Queen goes out. I mean, I wouldn't even blame him either. You only get one shot here. It's crazy. Now, what map are we going to get this time, Xun? Are we going to get that litmus? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Oh, I'm so excited. This could be the most interesting match of the day, Sam. The double gas in the main base. Will they just make that 12 hatchery in the main, trying to optimize for economy and make up for it with those two gases to harvest and not really take any unnecessary risks and just hold the ramp here? Will one of them be brazen, go for all early Zerglings anyway and try and put on the pressure? We'll have to wait and see. Both players getting warmed up with their heat packs now, keeping those fingers warm. Most of these guys do not play well with cold fingers. Most guys on the planet, besides maybe July Zerg. Both guys are ready, though, so we're going to be jumping straight into the action. It's the ASL Season 20 Group D losers match between Hyun and Calm. And the map, it's going to be Litmus. Let's get it started.
Hyun, down in bottom right. Calm in top right. There it is, the double gas geyser. Now, when I first started laddering on this map, it didn't quite dawn on me how important this second gas is, but as I started kind of messing around with it a little bit more, I found out that this can absolutely change the matchup, and it really does make it viable to just stay on one base for kind of an insanely long time. You don't really need that second base. And in fact, getting that second base online, it just kind of opens you up to certain strategies and certain attacks where if you just stay on one base and, you know, build some extra sunken colonies, gear up for that second gas and just get that online, you could basically have a two base economy on one base with a much tighter build, a much more defendable base.
Oh, absolutely. And we can see both players neglecting going for something like a 9 pool here. Will it be a 12 pool? Will it be a 12 hatch? One thing to say is that these guys do only have 3,000 gas apiece. So around about the 12-minute mark or so, one of them will start to become depleted if this game does go the distance. Look at Hyun taking the natural expansion, whereas Calm, he's going for a bit of 11 pool inside the main base. A bit more of a safer mid-rangey style. Hyun taking a bit of a risk.
I think the Calm's going to win this already. Just seeing what Calm's doing, I mean, getting the pool of gas here at 12, this is such a strong build on this map. I don't think that Hyun has quite figured it out yet, and he's probably going to end up getting abused. Like, you can tuck sunken colonies in here next to these gas geysers. Oh, I love it. I've been putting the hatcher on the bottom side. Oh my gosh, that's so sick. I didn't even think of that, Xun.
That's SimCity. Yeah, this is what we call him the brain Zerg, saying, okay? He's got, you know, a different way of thinking about the game, a little bit smart. Someone like Effort, you know, approaching the game with a new set of eyes, outside of the tunnel vision that some of these other guys have, thinking about the game in linear fashions, and going to be doing some small optimizations here with that Sim City. You can, you know, tuck a Spire in there or Sunken or something. Really good. Really, I love this from Calm. And yeah, you're absolutely right. With the 12 pool gas, you can be so aggressive while being economic at the same time. Like, he only needs 10 drones mining these mineral patches. And with these 2 gases, you know, he can essentially make 6 mutas a minute. I mean, that's crazy.
It's a little hard to actually get enough economy to spend all your gas when you have you know, a bunch of drones here on one base. You don't get quite as much out of your drones if you go a little bit oversaturated, but you can see Calm already oversaturating here, getting those extra drones out. He's prepping for this Mutalisk timing, and it is going to be super powerful. Let me tell you, Calm is getting set up for an insanely strong mid-game. Okay, gonna throw the Spire on the right-hand side. That's not exactly what I was expecting. I thought he was gonna put like a sunken colony with the Spire just below it here, right below that gas geyser, but he's gonna put it on the right-hand side here, still in range of a sunken if he wants to throw that below the gas geyser. You gotta have a sunken cover everything in your base, if at all possible.
Yeah, I'd just like to take a little moment here to explain to some of the uninitiated what we're talking about in terms of like unit production and stuff. So on average, you're getting approximately 50 minerals per minute per worker. And on the gas, you get 100 gas per worker on those geysers. So if you, in theory, have like, you know, 10, 11 drones on those mineral patches, you're almost squeezing out 300 minerals per minute to spend that 300 gas on Mutalisk. It doesn't quite work out that way. You get a little bit less, so you probably will have to cycle out a few Scourge to make up the deficit of the slight imbalance, but you can really squeeze out a lot if you know about those min-max of optimizing your drones. But actually, Hyun trying to bring up the ramp here. There's only 6 Lings on the ramp. He has to give up the position to Hyun. Has got some additional Zerglings showing up, but Hyun with the superior surface area and tech advantage of that Ling speed, boxing out these Lings of Calm. Calm's in trouble, losing so many of these slow Lings to Hyun. He might just get some critical damage here.
I can't believe he didn't build the sunken colony here. He's being so greedy with this. He is going to lose a drone. Gets a pretty good slide on top of those Lings, but this is pretty rough now. Calm actually needs more than 1 sunken colony to hold this off. If Hyun keeps on making Lings, he could get a lot of drone kills here and keep Calm locked in his base for a long time. Oh my gosh, 2 drone kills. 3, 4. Oh my gosh, so much damage here. Calm, come on, buddy. You can't be this greedy.
Yeah, this is wild stuff. He has got Mutalisk advantage, but if the X pop out just in time for Hyun, one thing going for Calm is that the Mutas are coming from the natural, not the main, so they will take a little bit of time to get there. So maybe Calm can use this tempo play, cut some damage down onto these first 3 Mutalisks before they can join forces with their natural. He has got only 5 Mutas to 6, has got a pair of Scourge to make up that deficit. Pair of Scourge also hatching for Hyun with good micro. Calm might be able to do something, does kill one of those Scourge, then the second, actually with the tempo advantage, Calm coming out ahead, has a pair of Scourge as well in support of those boosters. He can one-shot these drones in the main. He's making the tempo work for him, Saiyan.
Oh, he's got to kill so many drones here, though, Xun. You can see he's behind in supply. He just barely dodges that nice kill on those Scourge. How many are left here in the stack? There's 2 Scourge at the bottom of this stack for Calm. Can he actually get some connections here?
Wow.
Getting a lot of kills in this main base. Has he done enough damage to now retreat safely home? He's going to try.
I mean, it's tough to say exactly. He did kill quite a sizable amount of drones to make up. He's got 4 mining back at home. That's not enough for total Mutas production. He has to make pretty much predominantly Scourge here. He does connect with one of the Scourge. Hyun taking down one of those Mutalisks of Calm. Now he has the Muta advantage. He will be able to secure the win, but that was a valiant attempt from Calm to secure the tempo advantage and find a win condition here. But Hyun will be slapping him down in this game and should be able to find a way of closing this out unless he blunders.
Yeah, that would be very hard to blunder from the spot like this. Calm. Oh, I'm so sad he didn't get to utilize the position on this map. I was so excited to see what he could do here, but yeah, these Mutas are going to end up going down. A drone out on the map right now. I mean, Calm is completely fallen apart. Oh my gosh, gonna walk
Oh!
right in with the mutas. That's something for Calm. I mean, that might keep him alive for a little bit longer. He's popped out some more drones, and he's making some mutas right now. You can't kill Scourge in one shot with just 2 mutas, so it's a little bit harder to micro against. A drone heading across the map from Hyun. You can't get complacent here, Hyun. You gotta lock in to get this win.
You can sunken rush him. Put a sunken at the bottom of the hatchery and just sunken pushing him. That'd be kind of crazy and hilarious. He doesn't necessarily need to do something cheeky like that, though. He's got the position. He's got a slight, actually similar worker count, but he has got the 2 gases available to him, so he can squeeze out more Scourge than Calm can. He's actually not mining all on gas, is Hyun. He hasn't got that many workers on minerals, so he's trying to make sure he's careful about what he optimizes in terms of his mineral income and the gas. So technically Calm has more workers right now, but less bases to saturate and optimize the better patches to mine. So technically this is still very Hyun favored, both in terms of supply and the resources available for him to utilize. He's camping on top of the X with a pair of Scourge to cancel out anything that Calm produces right now. He's running into the main base. There's not a lot Calm can do to shut this down. Losing any drones right now is critical damage.
Yeah, I mean, he's relying on Hyun making a mistake, and Hyun is making a lot of mistakes. I don't think there's enough mistakes for Calm to make this comeback. Like, if you micro perfectly here, you never get hit by a Scourge. But, I mean, he keeps getting hit by Scourge again and again. It's just he's got too much production. He's got too many Scourge here, and eventually he will close this out. Calm, I am so disappointed, man. Why did you not make some extra sunken colonies there? I mean, you got the right idea, but the sunkens were way too late, and he just lost way too many drones.
That's like a bit of a repeat in a way of what we saw on Screaming Sea. They were not really optimizing for the early game defense enough and paid the price. He was thinking more about the long-term macro shenanigans of having to contend with the superior gas income on that map and trying to optimize for that mid game rather than focusing on his early game defenses. And you can see that fallacy really paying off for Hyun now as well as he joins us through. He can't even believe it, I think he's a little bit surprised. I can see his hand shaking ever so slightly. I think he's feeling a bit of adrenaline now that he's in the finals match against Queen. He could be the guy to eliminate Queen. It's very unlikely, but definitely possible here in the ASL.
Yeah, I think he was shaking because he almost kind of gave that game back to Calm after taking so many Scourge hits. Like, you know, there's cases where you basically have the win and you're sending your mutas across the map, and then, you know, you go back, maybe macro something or build something at home, and then, you know, 6 Scourge hit your mutas and kill, you know, half of what you've got left, and then things can get really, really hairy. It wasn't that bad in that game, but he did take some annoying Scourge hits, and he's definitely shook up about it. Guys, we're going to another commercial break. Hope you didn't blink. You would have missed that game, but we'll be right back with that final match. Stick around. All right, guys. The final match is about to begin. Our last ZVZ in this historic group here in the round of 24. We don't get to cast many of these, and as two Zerg players is definitely a treat. Still, I'm feeling a bit disappointed after that last game. Damn. Calm just letting it slip through his fingers. I think he really had a good game plan there on Litmus, and we might not even see one more ZVZ on Litmus for the rest of the season, Xun. Can you imagine that?
It's just positive. Yeah, no, it's going to be rare to see that happen again. So it's a shame we didn't get to see a longer showing of it, but at least we got one game under our belt. Going to be 0 versus Hyun. I mean, we just saw them face off in that match number 1, and yeah, Queen did slap him down. Can he get revenge? Hyun needs to dig deep here. Queen definitely the favored going forward, I would say. And our predictions would then be correct if Queen does join Effort in that next stage. And I definitely called it correctly in rating Effort higher than Queen since he made it out of the group first.
Yeah, this is the moment where we get to see the rock, paper, scissors aspect of ZVZ, right? You saw him throw rock in his match versus Calm earlier, versus Hyun earlier, right? No, sorry, excuse me. Queen versus Calm, right? Was where we... No, Queen versus Hyun is where we started. My gosh. I'm already getting all these games mixed up. It's been such a hurricane, such a tornado of games here today, guys, with so many ZVZs back to back.
Yeah.
He's seen it already, the 11 hatch, and yeah, it was Hyun. So he saw the 11 hatch. Does he go 9 pool speed here, expecting another 11 hatch? Is he going to throw that rock out again, or is he going to switch to the scissors now?
Yeah, astute observation. You hit it on the head. That's the psychology of this rock, paper, scissor action in ZVZ. You know, sometimes you throw the same trick out twice, and you know it's like a fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me type deal. If you do fall for it again, maybe you'll be laughed at. But maybe Queen wants you to think that way and force you into a style you didn't necessarily want to go for, and will be suboptimal as well. I mean, Queen could just as easily go for an overpool or 12 pool now, optimize against something like a 9 pool speed. And there's no real right answer, I would say. Like, there's a lot of times where you just kind of got to feel for it, get your star sense activated, and read the soul of your opponent.
Yeah, that's right. What type of player am I going up against? Is he going to, after that first win, just try to do the same thing again, or is he going to try to mix it up, expecting that 9 pool speed? You could also go for like a hatchery first as well, and you know, just kind of match the greed for greed here if you expect him to go for an 11 hatch as well. But
yeah,
you know, then you might get pulled by Queen. Who knows? Maybe he goes you know, 9 pool speed here himself. We're going to Radion, guys. It's a big map. Especially if we get cross map positions, I think there's a good chance of at least one of these players going for a hatchery first, but we'll have to find out.
Hopefully they've got their WWJD bracelets on. What would Jaedong do, and can decipher the necessary course of action in terms of their build order choice and execution therein? We'll have to find out. Both players settling their nerves. They jump into this finals match. Queen did look a little bit shaky in that game against Effort. Mineral optimization issues and other factors as well. The Spire placement. Will he make similar blunders here against Hyun? We're about to find out. It's the ASL Season 20 Group D finals match. Queen versus Hyun on Radiant, guys. Let's get the final match of the evening started.
Queen down here in the bottom left, and Hyun in the bottom right. Close positions on Radion, guys. Right as we're getting into this last match of the night, just want to let you guys know that, or remind you guys that we have a new Patreon here, page where you guys can support us as a duo cast If you go ahead and look in the, if you're watching on YouTube and you look in the description, there's another Patreon page there, but that does not go to fund us. That goes to help out StarCastTV. And so if you guys want to support our cast and all the other casts we do, SCSL, KCM, and the like, you guys can join us over at Saiyan Xun Duo Casts on Patreon. You guys can look it up. SAIYANXUN Duo Casts at Patreon. We really appreciate your support. And by the way, if you aren't really into Patreon, or if you're not really wanting to support through Patreon, still go ahead and follow that. You can find other ways to support that we've listed on that Patreon page, as well as things like spoiler-free schedule and other things for the ASL, so you guys can check that out. Definitely go follow for free and kind of help us out if you can.
Yeah, I believe you put our PayPal links on the Patreon page as well. I've had a few guys send me some donos. I really do appreciate all the love you guys have been sending us. It means the world to us. It really does. Like, we love the game and we do this more for the passion than the paper, but I mean, it helps us keep doing this and focusing a lot of our time and energy to bringing you the best cast possible. So any help you can provide will be held dearly in our hearts. So thank you so much for you guys that even just signed up for free on that Patreon page and sent us the support that you have. It's been really humbling almost.
Oh my gosh, getting into this game, I mean, we've got exactly mirrored builds here from Queen and Hyun. With those close positions, both players see exactly what the build is here. 11 pool with a gas, and then into that hatchery afterwards. It's a kind of a middle of the road build, more of an eco build. Does struggle against a 12 hatch or an 11 hatch. A hatchery first build is pretty strong against this, but it gives you a bit of safety against something like a 9 pool of speed. And so I think both players going down the middle of the road, it's going to give us a great game here, because nobody has a clear advantage and both players have full vision over each other. They can react accordingly no matter what the other player does.
Yeah, similar to that game on Screaming Sea, they'll be essentially matching each other lane for lane here. And I think Queen will learn his lesson and not pull that Overlord back too quickly to save it against the threat of Mutalisks. And keep an eye on how many Zerglings are in production for Hyun so he doesn't get eliminated in quite the same similar fashion. And you're absolutely right, with this middle range style of 12 pool, usually the kind of style you would go for if you're feeling confident in your ability as a Zerg gamer. It's not necessarily the most optimal always, but it gives you the most range of options and prevents any hard counters.
Yeah, if we were going to get a longer game in ZVZ, it's either this game right here or that Screaming Sea. Of course, Screaming Sea, the gambit from effort, the gamble of making a ton of lings there really paid off for him, and we didn't get that longer game. But here, both players being very cognizant of where their opponent is putting their resources and understanding how many lings are here. As long as nothing goes severely wrong, you know, ling run by gets in and kills a bunch of drones or anything like that, we could get cleanly into a Mutalisk play and have a very strong game here from both players. Either guy making a lot of lings right now. Okay, first couple of drones popping out for Queen, but matching the drone numbers from Hyun. No big risk so far.
Yeah, I would say 12 pool as well is like probably the most difficult build order to navigate. The behavior tree that you need to be aware of is so much more vast and varied, so you really do need to know your stuff to play like this and keep up with the curve of the game and all the possible shenanigans. You can see a large ling investment now from Hyun all of a sudden, but a sunken on the way for Queen to buffer against that. And we'll now start to set up a very tight line of defensive Zerglings from the ramp to that sunken to deny too much advantage surface area being available, as well as parking a Zergling between that sunken and hatchery to prevent a full surround on that defensive structure. We'll have to probably pull these drones back to safety if he does poke in here. But we'll have to see if Hyun wants to pull the trigger on breaking into this position. I don't think he should. I feel like Queen's setup is strong enough that we should still see that Mutalisk metagame.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary to try and break this position here. Both players have invested in ground enough at this point to where I don't think, Queen can try to counterattack, nor can Hyun take this fight. Oh my gosh, he's going to go in. Oh, I think this is a huge mistake. Yeah, he's going to lose a bunch of lings. Now Queen can counterattack, and this might actually be deadly. There's no sunken colony here for Hyun, and Scourge are making their way right in immediately. He's trying to get on top of these mutas. Not going to be able to get a hit on one of these mutas here just yet. But as the mutas come across the map, he might be able to combine it with a ling attack and kind of overwhelm Hyun on the ground while the mutas are fighting.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that Hyun had a few too many Zerglings and needed to lose a couple of them to squeeze out some pairs of Scourge for it to make up its supply. Like, maybe he thought that if I don't just trade in here, I can't make quite the necessary tempo amount of Mutalisk and Scourge to be safe. So maybe he wanted to trade off a few Zerglings just to squeeze out additional forces before his Overlord could pop out. He actually made 2 Overlords all at once here. That's a little bit unusual. You can see Queen at 42, whereas Hyun's at 38, 50. So I don't know if he just felt like he was Overlord stuck and tried to compensate a lot there and traded off some Zerglings to make up the difference. But Queen going to be poking in with Mutalisk and Zerglings. Very tactical engagement from Queen. Good connection with one of those Scourge, but it's not going to be good enough. Queen has such an advantage on the ground, which also soaks up bounces from those Mutalisks to mitigate the DPS from those Glaives as well. Putting on pressure onto the drones. There's drones dying in the natural for Hyun now. He can't even save the hatchery. Queen is just overwhelming him.
Yeah, you guys see how much of a one-sided fight that was on the ground. Not even able to really contest there. Hyun backs all the way up onto the high ground. He will... Oh my god. I thought it was going to live on 5 HP there. A 5 HP hatchery is as good as dead, though. You can just send one muta in, or, a couple mutas to just go ahead and finish that kill. Ah, dude, Hyun is completely falling apart. Scourge are going to come in. Yeah. He tries to dive here. He's going to do a pretty good job of splitting off the Scourge, but as long as Queen doesn't make absolutely horrific attempt at holding this, he is definitely going to end up winning. So there it is. GG is called, and Hyun goes down. Queen will make it through into the round of 16. No surprise there, Xun. My gosh.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier. We said Hyun was the underdog of this group. You can see why. I do feel like he was feeling some nerves and adrenaline before going into this finals match, and that's also hindered his chances. But Queen, he's definitely the better Zerg player overall. But I feel a bit vindicated that Effort made it out of this group first. I did rate Effort a lot higher than I did Queen overall. He's just a more complete player, in my opinion. And if Effort's playing his best, he certainly makes someone look Queen look a more A tier than S tier. And I think Effort has that potential to join the ranks of the S tier. If he does play his absolute A game, he is on a different level. He comes from a different planet. That's why they call him the Alien Zerg. And we might be seeing more great things from him in the rest of the tournament. We could also see him fall flat on the face, though. He did have a lot of wrist issues. I hope they're screwed on tight for the rest of this tournament. We're seeing a bit of a highlight now of Hyun repositioning himself. It did look he had some issues with his optimizations. Like, he made 2 overlords all at once here. That's 100 minerals down the drain that he could have used on, squeezing out a Mutalisk or something. I'm not sure exactly what's going on in the camp of Hyun, but certainly going in for that Ling trade now means that he's at a vulnerability of being punished on the ground by Queen after losing a few extra Zerglings. And Queen does a great job of leveraging the Zerglings on the ground as the Mutalisks come in from the air to support. And if you have got a Ling advantage, it's so hard to engage with the Mutas even, because those Lings are taking bounces from those Glaives, reducing your overall DPS output onto the air units.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a compounding error thing like I was talking about before, where, he kind of threw the Lings in and then realized, oh, that was a mistake, and then proceeded to, miss an Overlord right after because he was thinking about that initial mistake. It's something that totally happens, and it's hard to avoid. And Queen played a great game here. He just handled his business, didn't make any mistakes. He played middle of the road, kind of as we were expecting. Like, I thought maybe he would go crazy and make another hatchery first, considering it worked against Hyun initially. But he just, yeah, goes for that 12 hatch and handles business through.
Yeah, I'm glad we've got him joining effort. They are definitely my two players of choice here today. Guys, it's been a real blast bringing you these games in ASL. I sometimes have to pinch myself to make sure it's real that Saiyan and I get to join you with StarCastTV to bring you this level of action. This is the premier tournament in the StarCraft scene. So this is the place to be in terms of as a gamer, as a viewer watching, and as a caster bringing you that action. So we're really appreciative of your guys' support, and we're just happy to be here. It's been like a dream come true being able to bring you guys this ASL action.
Yeah, please, guys, hit the like button if you're on StarCast TV right now. Leave a comment as well. And if at all possible, come and join us for the live stream, 7 p.m. Korean Standard Time. Tomorrow is going to be Group E, and that group is going to be so sick, Xun. We got Jaedong in there, and he has been absolutely performing this season. Like, I was excited for Jaedong last season. I thought he was going to do very well. But this season, I hate to be wrong again, but like this season, he's looking incredible. Double all kill, 2 weeks back to back in KCM. Like, this guy is showing us some insane improvement, and it, like, laser focus, killer instinct that we haven't seen for a while. I really do feel like the Tyrant is back. I hate to cast or curse him, but it's got to be that way. I'm expecting Jaedong, great things from Jaedong here tomorrow.
Be careful what you say, Sam, because I mean the caster curse seems a little bit stronger with you, at least today. But yeah, careful what you say, please, because I want him to do well as well. But I'm just hesitant to say anything about it because he does look so good. And what's so special about the games we've seen from him in the KCM is not that he's dominating, but he's creating such scrappy, chaotic games that are just interesting to watch. You know, and he's one of those guys that creates a ladder out of that chaos in which to climb. And as a caster, as a lover of this esport and scene in general, it just makes for a great viewing experience. So I'm looking forward to his games from that point alone.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even if he doesn't make it out, I'm absolutely certain we're going to have some really exciting games there. Jaedong versus Rush will be just crazy if they end up meeting up against each other. It's going to be Rush versus Paralyzed first, then Jaedong versus Mong. Mong, who's actually shown some improvement lately too. I mean, he has a slight chance, as does Paralyzed, at getting through, but I'm really expecting Rush and Jaedong to make it out of that group to join Queen and Effort in that round of 16.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my money would be on those. I would say don't sleep on Paralyzed. He's a pretty strong guy. But yeah, Rush, Jaedong, definitely the favorites to break out of that group. They're certainly where my money would be placed, Sam. We'll have to wait and see what occurs in that group. It is the best of one format as always, so would be kind of interesting to see some kind of upset. I mean, Mong has pretty good TVT and TVP. He probably will struggle against someone like Jaedong if he faces off against him in the winners or losers match. So as well, I don't know. He might get a rematch against Jaedong in the finals. Sorry. I don't know. I think he's going to struggle. He's going to get eliminated in the first game against him. Then he's going to go down to probably the losers, and then he's going to have to face off probably against Paralyze. He will probably dominate Paralyze in a TVP, I would say. So he has a final match rematch possible against someone like Jaedong. I think he will struggle too much in that TVZ matchup to make it through.
Yeah, guys, it's going to be a great day of StarCraft and a nice break from ZVZ as well. Only one Zerg player there in that group. We've had our fill. Unfortunately, no longer ZVZ games. Basically everything just coming down to a few small mistakes from these players. Even that Queen versus Effort game was like just a bit of a crazy one with some serious mistakes being made by Queen. A bit of a blunderful series here in the round of 24. But guys, we're ready for that Group E tomorrow, 7 p.m. Korean Standard Time. See you there. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks, guys.